It really is.
Are we ready? Good afternoon, everyone. 5 p.m. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please join me in the invocation and the pledge. Gracious Heavenly Father, we call on your name. We're thankful to be here today. We just ask you to just be present, guide our hearts and our minds and our actions here as we do our county's business. We just ask your special hand of protection over those that sent us here to do this job and protect those who keep us safe, our law enforcement and our military. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We've got a couple opportunities for you to participate with us tonight. We have a citizens to be heard at the beginning, another one at the end. You can speak on either of those items of your choice on any topic. You can also speak to the individual agenda item. If you will, just fill out a speaker card with Kinsey for each item. And when you come up, give us your name and your address. Folks are watching at home, so speak into that microphone so they can hear you as well. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, we have a couple additions. One as an add-on item to request board approval to purchase a used mini excavator, and that will be added on to general business. And the second is just an additional item. It's a resolution that goes with tab 15 that you've all been provided a copy of.
And let's see, tab 15, so it's already on the agenda, we just have some add-on information for it.
Yep.
All right, does our motion include that change?
Yep.
And the second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. Citizens to be heard. Thank you. Mr. David Damon.
David Damon, Crawfordville. Thank you, Commissioners. I want to talk a little bit about the budget issue. So we keep hearing, we've heard over the years that we don't need impact fees because we have plenty of money, new development, and we also hear new development pays for itself. But all of a sudden we find that we cannot hire 9 law enforcement, 9 firefighters to protect the people that moved into this county. We don't have the money all of a sudden. If new development was paying for itself, the money would be in there. It's just that simple. So now we're going to have to raise taxes next year to pay for what we needed this year to pay for all that development that doesn't pay for itself. That myth needs to end because it doesn't. Clearly, if ever it was exposed for the BS that it is, that's what it is. So, I think we need to take a look at ways that we can raise more money. One thing is impact fees, and I know it's limited what it can be spent on, but other counties manage to do impact fees, and they use it to improve their recreation park. They use it for trails. They use it for anything that has to do with growth. We've heard for years that the community center was going to get a pool. That wasn't the plan. That's never going to happen, is it? Come on now. Let's be honest. We barely are hanging on. Look at the recreation park. They need more funding. That money could go towards that. It's time to go ahead and let's deal with this. And you guys, we're in a mess right now. Sure, you're going to take money from somewhere else. That's taxpayer money from somewhere else that you have to take to make up for what isn't there that was supposed to be there. So I think it's time to consider impact fees, and let's give something to the kids of this county and to the people of this county other than just more traffic, more clear-cut subdivisions, more people in the way. What has improved with all this development in Wakulla County? Truly, what is better? The only thing I can think of offhand is maybe the Publix. Other than that, the rest of it could go. Nothing's improved in Wakulla County. All we're getting is more traffic, more headaches, more problems. So let's look at impact fees. Let's look at what we can do for the Parks and Rec. Let's get some money coming in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Joe DeLuca. Welcome. Good evening, Joe DeLuca, 63 Sunrise Lane. First talking point, Mike Kemp, thank you for showing up to the beach and taking a look at all of our concerns. And thank you for the next day taking care of all of that lumber that was in the woods and getting rid of that ugly fence. After the last meeting, I emailed everybody asking them, if they had any thoughts on what I said. I got no returns. It would be nice if you guys would at least return an email. The kayak dock still hasn't been repaired. Both sides are gone, so nobody can launch a kayak. So that's just a dock. The water fountain that you put in hasn't worked since, 2020. So maybe somebody should turn it on. The pier, we got an update after the last meeting that we're going to be informed of any other updates. We got none. Dredging of the canals, we've heard several stories of why you can't dredge the Sunrise Canal. Mallory Parish talked to DEP. They said we don't need Ms. McMillan's permission to dredge that canal because we're not dredging her dirt, we're just dredging your dirt and the silt that's been washed in there because of the fact that you don't have a border to stop any of the erosion. So what we would like is for you guys to take your dirt out of our canal and then put some kind of preventive maintenance there, whether it be the rocks or a seawall, whatever you want to do, and eliminate the problem permanently. Rebuilding the beach, we've lost a pile. Michael attests to that. I brought him over there and I showed him a tree that's the roots are 5 feet off the ground that used to sit next to our concrete bathrooms. The bathrooms are gone and the roots on that tree are this tall now. That's how much has eroded, and now it's taking our dunes. You guys are supposed to be public servants. Let's try doing that and helping the beach. It's one of our big draws, and nobody can use it at high tide because there is no beach. They have to walk on the dunes if they want to use the beach, and there's no place for them to put their blankets and what have you because that's how much of the beach has eroded since Hurricane Michael. So it's been 5 years. Now, my issue is that I heard the gentleman talking about how you guys don't have the money. End of the year, we're flush. We got $123,551,631 in assets. Cash on hand, $12,372,475. Now, the gentleman that just spoke, maybe he wasn't aware of this, but you guys got tons of money. So you can do the things that you need to do, and you can get the 9 firemen, you can get the 9 police officers, and you have the money to finance it. So I don't understand what the issue is and why we're not doing what we need to do on the island to take care of it, to make it better, just like you spent all that time and money on
Thank you, sir.
Shell Point.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
Mr. Tim Jordan.
I'm Tim Jordan, 32 Driftwood Drive, Panacea, Florida. I'm here on behalf of the Panacea Area Water Company. We're in a very precarious position with needing a new well, and we've got serious saltwater intrusion concerns over there. We've had to close one well there on Surf Road, and we have a long-term lease with the Forestry Department, which we're about to expire. So we've been looking over there to try to find a well site, which we have found, away from the coast where we have this intrusion with saltwater. We had a line to connect us to Sopchoppy put in about 3 years ago, and it's also Florida Water would love to see us put in a well that we could provide water to Franklin County if they needed it to it. Alligator Point, they're in a very precarious position as well. the current law is 300 feet from any structure. The property we bought, our well site, would be 280 feet. Right now, I believe there's 6 wells in Wakulla County, and all but one are within those boundaries, not conforming to the current law. So it wouldn't be that much out of conformity to the wells in the county. So I hope you'll consider approving an amendment to allow us to put a well. We're 20 feet from the Mid-Art School. That's the issue. There's no serious septic tanks in the area. The school's on sewer, so it would be a benefit to the whole county, actually, because we could also provide water to Sopchoppy as needed if they had a problem. So I hope you'll consider this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That ends our citizens to be heard. We have no awards and presentation. Do we have a motion to approve consent agenda? Motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. We'll go to general business, item number 12.
Thank you, Commissioners. This agenda item requests board approval of the 2024 Visit Wakulla Sales and Marketing Plan. In accordance with the Tourist Development Council bylaws, the 2024 Wakulla Sales and Marketing Plan was presented to the Tourist Development Council for review and recommendation. The Council's recommendation must now be presented to the board for final approval. I'm now going to turn this item over to Kenzie Miller.
Good evening, Commissioners. This year, Visit Wakulla is proposing a $200,000 budget for the 2024 marketing plan. That would be completely funded by bed tax revenue, have no effect on the general fund. Bed tax revenue is generated from local hotels, campgrounds, and other lodging accommodations. In the past year, you guys approved a $37,000 marketing plan, and we've seen significant return on that investment. And so now I'm going to introduce Tom Drzapolski with Bow Stern, who's going to walk you through the marketing plan.
Thank you.
Unless you want to do it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, my name's Tom Drzapolski, and first of all, I wanted to thank y'all for the opportunity to continue to serve this community. This is where we enjoy our recreational activities, and if you're getting away from Tallahassee, this is where you go. So it's a real pleasure for us to get to tell the world about all the good things going on down here. One of our senior associates, Elle, is with me this evening, and I would like for her to present the plan. She presented it to the TDC, and she's one of our most senior practitioners, and wanted to give her an opportunity to speak with y'all as well. So, Elle, you can handle it.
Good evening. Thank you, Tom. Ralph has heard this speech already, so I apologize that you have to listen to it again. But for the good of the order, we'll share here. So I wanted to go over our priorities and strategy to start. So first and foremost, our biggest priority is to drive heads in beds. Like Kinsey said, that tax that is generated by visitors to the county is our funding mechanism for these activities. So ultimately, we are successful if we're able to drive revenue from that aspect. And we're excited to provide an opportunity for the local entrepreneurs of Wakulla County to gain revenue from these visitors as well. We also want to generate exposure to Wakulla as a top outdoor destination. We want to engage a following for the county as well, and feature tourist-related industries, again, driving revenue to those entrepreneurs in town. We have 2 target audiences. This has not changed from the previous plan in 2023. We're looking at outdoor enthusiasts and young explorers. Both have their merits. You can see the demographic criteria for each outlined on this slide here. But again, that's within a 3 to 5 hour drive of the county. We find that that's the hot spot for your target audience. This graphic is directly from Google Analytics. These are the people that are visiting your website. Again, we see that 3 to 5 hour driving radius as the most interested group in Wakulla County. And then additionally, we'll consider targeting audiences outside in larger metropolitan areas that are highlighted on the slide. So a lot of planning goes into making these recommendations, and we want to consider the seasons, of course. So we would be pushing in-season messaging to drive audiences that are interested in various activities throughout the county. Those are highlighted here. And then, of course, events are a big draw. We saw a great attendance at the Blue Crab Festival with some of the marketing that we were able to do, so we'd like to replicate that for other events throughout the county as well. Historic considerations, we see that much of your revenue is generated during the summer season, so we would like to amplify marketing in seasons that have bigger growth opportunity. Of course, we don't want to put stress on your hoteliers and your B&Bs in town, so we want to make sure that we're able to accommodate those guests when they're interested. So we're going to be looking at spending our budget in seasons that have opportunities to grow. And then we'll look at messaging. So again, looking at seasonality, we want to make sure that our message is in line with what folks are interested in and what seasons are appropriate. So we have a list of items that were provided by Kinsey specifically, so we've made some recommendations based on that. So Kinsey, if you'll pass forward to the next one. We have different seasons that are appropriate for various things. Wildlife observation is a good example there. We have November through February highlighted. That's our opportunity to push that. That has lots of bird migrations, and the birding population is seriously interested in Wakulla County during this period. So we'll look at marketing specifically to that group during that period. And then as far as our approach goes, we already work with Wakulla County to offer various services that are highlighted in the monthly reputation management category. But to supplement that, we're looking at providing a heavy push on digital advertising. In the past year, we've been able to provide a 300% increase in total web traffic to visit wakulla.com using the digital ad strategies that we have in place now. We'd like to amplify that and provide even greater growth and more visitorship to the county as well. So the projected costs per month are outlined here on this slide, but again, you'll see that it has that inverse of what we see with demand in Wakulla County. We're spending more during the months that have more growth opportunity to bring people in. And then in addition to that, we are going to engage some influencers. Most recently, we've done a FAM tour and seen some great results from that. People are interested in talking about Wakulla County on social media platforms. So a FAM tour is when we invite a select number of influencers into the county to experience everything that you guys have to offer. Most recently, we brought them to the Lodge and down to Cherokee Sink and over to Trident. So they've been able to dine in the county and explore some of our local trails. And we had great success with that. So we're looking to replicate that again in spring of 2024. And then additionally, we'd like to invite influencers to explore Wakulla County on their own and show the county through their own lens. Whenever we engage influencers, there's a lot of vetting that goes into that, and then we also provide them with a brief of what we're looking to have them post about, so they're not going rogue and posting anything that we wouldn't want. We also pre-approve all of the posts before they go live, so we are able to control your reputation from that perspective as well. And then here's a breakdown of the budget. So that's how we plan to spend that $200,000 that Kinsey was talking about. So this supplements activities that are already in place, which make up the remainder of that $200,000 budget. So we appreciate your consideration, and am I able to open the floor for questions? Or are we doing that later? If you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Questions, comments? I just like to say we've come a long way. You know, what you guys are bringing to the table, we see month after month that the numbers just continue to grow. We think it's, you know, I always think at some point it might slow down, but so far that hasn't happened. So that's a good thing. And Kinsey, do you know what our projected revenue, bed tax revenue is for the year?
Over 300.
Over 300,000. I believe Tim Jordan might have been one of our original TDC members, and we were getting about $40,000-$50,000 back then. So imagine how far that's come. So good job, good leadership for the whole team. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
And a second. Any discussion on that? Discussion from the board. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. General business, item number 13.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this agenda item requests board approval of the economic development agreement between Wakulla County and Wakulla County Economic Development Council in the amount of, it's a 3-year contract with renewable each year.
So it's a 1-year contract?
1-year contract, yes.
Yes, and that's a big deal this year especially.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the development agreement between Wakulla County and the Wakulla County Economic Development Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any citizens? Mr. John Sheff.
How are y'all doing this evening?
Good.
Yeah, just a couple of points on EDC. We appreciate your consideration on the extending the 50,000. It's kind of a cornerstone of everything that we do. We get another almost $50,000 from other organizations, from NG Wade and from private businesses. Not quite 50, it's a little bit less than that, but it's all pretty much tied as a match. So if we lose your 50, then we're pretty much going to lose all the rest of we'll lose all of NG Wade, which is over 30,000, and then we have a number of local businesses that contribute, $500 or $1,000, but they're all tied to the same matching system. So, over the last 3 years, we've worked really hard to put Wakulla on the map, the economic development map, if you will, in concert with what the tourist people have been doing. We've just recently been asked to join Florida's Great Northwest, which has been something we've tried to achieve for several years. It's kind of like a funnel for economic, job-producing businesses that come into the area. We've just gotten put on that board, and Duke Energy has become a more and a stronger supporter, and they're one of our largest contributors now too, because they see what we're doing. So we kind of, we're just getting on the map. It's taken several years to do it, to develop our organization, develop our website, and and everybody said, oh, Wakulla County wants to be a part of what's going on. To consider pulling the carpet out now would be very detrimental, I think, to Wakulla County and its prospects in economic development. Thank you. Now, also, we were, this year, we've kind of, in our current year's contract, our coordinators are supposed to begin helping planning and zoning this year with businesses that need help through the permitting process, kind of act as our own bondsman. So we're kind of expanding what we're doing a little bit also. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Julie Dennis.
Hi, good evening. Julie Dennis, 47 Andrew J. Hargret Senior Road, Crawfordville, Florida. That's a very long mouthful of a word.
Exactly. I hate to have to write out Christmas cards.
Oh, man. Yes, it's a mouthful for sure. So I am one of 2 EDC coordinators that has had the pleasure of serving Wakulla County for the past 3 years, and I just want to thank you again for your investment to allow us to continue to move forward. I'm not going to go over the points that we made recently when we presented the return on investment report that described some of these things, but I did want to come up here and say thank you, and I want to leave you with one quote. So most recently, John mentioned that we were asked to join Florida's Great Northwest, and the CEO and president of Florida's Great Northwest has had something to say about Wakulla County and our work here. After witnessing the tremendous engagement, leadership, and growth within Wakulla County, Florida's Great Northwest leadership was excited to formally extend a partnership agreement for the county to join our regional efforts. We see Wakulla County's desire to attract more industry and facilitate the creation of new, higher-wage jobs, and we look forward to growing this partnership. So thank you again, County Commission, for your support of the Wakulla EDC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Beth Cicchetti. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to be before you this evening and for the consideration of this continued partnership. Public-private partnerships are the backbone of economic development across the state of Florida. It is the best way to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are invested wisely. For every dollar you put in, your partners from the private sector, it's a 60-40 for this organization, and that's not always the case for communities around the state. So you are in the best position you can be in. And this is a very exciting time for economic development. We have some activities occurring at the airport that serves the MSA, and that is the Future Foreign Trade Zone. And we want to be at the table as those activities progress, and we want to make sure we contribute and we have an opportunity for our companies to benefit from that. So this is a time for us to stay in the game, to also leverage the partnership that both Julie and John talked about, because Florida's Great Northwest is the official marketing arm of the Triumph Gulf Coast, and that's something that our county has not been able to leverage as much from a private sector economic development standpoint as some of the other counties to our west. So these are efforts that we'd like to continue, and we appreciate your investment to allow us to do so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I need to clarify, Mr. Brian Lupiani, I've got this now, but it says agenda item 14. You want to speak on this one or 14? 14. All right, sir. Call you up on that next one then. All right. Let's see. Did we get a motion on that? We got a motion in a second. Any discussion?
Second.
Okay.
We spent $150,000, and I would love to hear what we've actually gotten. I look at this report, and I don't see much in here that we've actually received for this investment. So, because somebody can come up and say, because this grant that was awarded $360, that hasn't come yet. That hasn't worked out. I just don't see anything here that has really worked out for the, economic activity, and I would like somebody to explain to me what we've actually gotten for a $150,000 investment.
Someone like to address that? Sure. Yep. Ms. Dennis, coming down.
Julie Dennis, do I have to say the mouthful again? 47, Andrew, okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hess, for your questions. And what I can tell you is that economic development is a long game. And so it took a long time. It took these past 3 years to develop those partnerships, to develop those relationships, and to get those dollars to the table. We have, in the report you'll see here, you'll see a number of business recruitment, retention, and expansion leads. So what this means is, when there is a business that is looking to locate in Florida or in the region, they are going to they're going to cast a wide net, right? And they're going to look at all of the different opportunities. And what we do is we respond to those. And so we can pull together the information on the data of Wakulla County. We pull together all those statistics, the facts, and everything to get that business and recruit them here.
I understand what your job is. I'm asking, what are the results? What have we gotten as a county with the money we've given you?
So a lot of marketing efforts have gone into what we've done to date. You've gotten established relationships. You've gotten leads. You've gotten better partnerships with many organizations. And frankly, I can show you. I know you mentioned the grant, and that is in the hopper still to be implemented. But we've also, you've gotten $140,000 in private sector investments that were leveraged to support this. So I think as we look at how we as we look to the future and how we develop opportunity.
$140,000, that was the EDC from the NG Way grants and those.
And other private investments, yes, from small businesses all over the county. So I can provide you. I'm not sure that it's in the report, but I can provide you that list, so you can see the businesses that stand behind the Economic Development Council. But one of the things that we see as we've been going through the past 3 years and recruiting businesses, we've had things come very, very close. One of the things that we see is that because of the uncertainty in the market, right? Because people people want to, if a business is locating here, they want to know how long will it take for me to get my building in the ground, and how much is it going to cost? Over the past 3 years, because of the challenges that we've been facing from a construction perspective, that's been a difficult one. And so a lot of the leads that you see coming into this region are looking for space that's already there, buildings that are already there that can be rented out, because they have the certainty on timelines and they have the certainty on dollar amounts as well. And so what we are working to do is pull together something to where we can do something similar. And that will be going forward. We'll be able to look at that this next year. But in addition to that, by having all of the data there, by being able to serve it up and say, yes, but we can do this very quickly, having that has kept us in the game in a lot of places where we wouldn't have stayed in.
Do you think the committee that we just got accepted to, you think that's going to make a big difference that for moving business that y'all said we've been trying to get into earlier?
Absolutely. We've already gotten, I guess it was, 2 weeks ago that we responded to a request for information for a business that's looking to locate in the Northwest Florida area. So what happens is those leads, now that we have this partnership with Florida's Great Northwest, those leads are coming into Florida's Great Northwest, and then they get pivoted right over to us to then generate the response and keep that going. It's very critical, especially now because the state of Florida has kind of revisited how they're looking at economic development. And Enterprise Florida is no longer being at the state agency. There's no longer that tip of the spear for the state of Florida. Enterprise Florida used to be the funnel through which all of the leads were largely driven. But with them no longer at the table, it's really important for us to have a strong regional partner to continue to get those.
Julie, can you speak to the meeting that we attended in Appalach with Senator Simon's staff and the Gulf Triumph folks, and maybe who was at that table and what the focus of that meeting is?
Yes, sir, for sure. So Senator Simon convened a meeting of the rural communities that are covered by Gulf Coast Triumph funding. So this included Gulf, included Franklin, and included Wakulla. So a number of us went over to attend that meeting, and we were all saying very similar things related to the challenge behind recruiting businesses here, because we don't have existing inventory. So in that conversation, part of the real reason for the convening of that group was to talk about that. And Senator Simon and his team wanted to hear how they could support through potential grants to build that inventory through spec buildings. The Triumph Gulf Coast team was also there, and they were listening to how they could tap into those dollars, how those dollars could be tapped into to allow for that inventory to be created in rural communities so that we could have the same resources. And in addition to that, Duke Energy was at the table, and Duke Energy is looking to make similar investments through grant programs that they're developing right now as well.
And just kind of piggyback on that, just a reminder, the money that we received for our radio system, that's the first time that the Triumph has awarded that any money on a project like that we couldn't have a direct economic return on it. Yes, it's beneficial for our community, but it's hard to say this radio system is going to add X amount of jobs. So part of that conversation was, like she alluded to, the buildings, being able to possibly tap into those funds in a new way that hasn't been done yet either, and to have some site-ready move-in building sites. So it is a long game, and I think that would be a game changer if we can kind of secure some of those Triumph funds to help us have that seed to incubate. We got a great location with a lot of infrastructure, but there's no building there, and most people, they want something they can move into. And so maybe that'll help as well. And Senator Simon's behind that.
Maybe it'll help, but you still have 3 years in and you haven't brought anything to the county, and I have a problem with that.
Can I ask Julie a question?
Please.
Can you tell me again and the public about the Sunblessed relationship that just happened with the EDC and their relationship with what's going on in their own world?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So Sunblessed Gardens, for those who may not have visited, is the best kept secret in Wakulla County. They are over by the prison, just across the street from our major industrial park. And Sunblessed Gardens is is an organization that is family-owned, and the gentleman that owns that, he and his wife, he comes from a long line of not only growers, but of inventors of equipment to service and to expand and grow operations like Sunblessed Gardens. So, we started the relationship with Sunblessed Gardens early on. We thought what they were doing was very interesting and unique. We went out and actually visited with them. We actually featured Sunblessed Gardens in a lot of our marketing materials that have been put across the nation to show that a business that's as unique and valuable as Sunblessed Gardens is growing and thriving here. In developing that relationship, we had a partnership. We actually held an event at Sunblessed Gardens. But most recently, when Sunblessed Gardens was looking to expand, Beth and I have met with that team on several occasions, and we lined them up with technical assistance opportunities. And we also were able to get them recognized this year as one of the top 50 companies to watch in the state of Florida. And that's a big deal for rural communities to be recognized on that list. That says something. And it's the second company in Wakulla to get announced in that way. And it just shows the type of environment that we have here. And those types of success stories are going to help us to create more. So now where Caleb's looking to go, the owner of Sunblessed Gardens is looking to go in the future, is expanding through his organization and his business through robotics. And, business expansion is something that we can help with. It's not just retention. And so Beth and I have been meeting with them. They're now investing in the EDC, and we look forward to helping them grow.
Very good.
So, Sunblessed, have they expanded their operation? 8 years ago when I talked to them, they were trying to get extra land to expand their operations. Did they get the land? They're trying to get for NG Way.
They have land on which to expand right now.
Yep.
They've been busy.
It's a heck of an operation. It is.
It is, very impressive. And we see that Just Fruits is starting an expansion as well, so, yeah. Very good. Thank you very much. Additional questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
I would have a question. Sometime we need to evaluate whether they're accomplishing anything instead of just making.
Oh, I agree.
That is in their new contract. Do you want to see that? The new contract that we just agreed with.
What you're saying is, we need a home run.
Exactly.
At some point, we need a home run. I'm with you on that.
Fielding flies.
And I can tell you that I've actually attended some of the meetings that, that everyone wasn't there, that they have been working that, and some have been very, very, very close, and so keep swinging and get that home run. Yeah. Thank you. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 4-1. All righty, so that takes us to our add-on item for the excavator.
This agenda item requests board approval to waive the procurement ordinance and purchase a used John Deere 60G mini excavator in the amount of $67,370 from the city of St. Marks.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any citizens on that, Ken? Questions, comments from the board?
That comes out of the road fund, by the way.
Yeah, 2%, yeah.
All right.
Good deal.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. That ends our general business. We're going to public hearings, item number 14.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for the board's approval to conduct the final public hearing and adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Land Development Code. This is pertaining to commercial zoning district regulations. The proposed ordinance would amend C2, C3, HIC, and LIC zoning districts to remove convenience stores with fuel sales as principal uses and add those into the conditional use classification requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? We'll start out with Mr. O'Brien Lupiani. Hopefully I got that somewhere close.
That was perfect.
Oh, great.
I mess it up myself sometimes. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Brian Lupiani, I live at 607 McDaniel Street, up north in Tallahassee. I'm here representing the Wakulla Springs Alliance, which has many members in Wakulla County, so I'm not I'm not a total interloper here tonight.
Welcome.
You have probably received, or should have received, an email from Anthony Gaudio, our chair, about this issue of the conditional use language amendment. We support the proposed changes to the Land Development Code to require conditional use approval for gas stations. We do recommend strengthening the provision to require data and analysis of the Wakulla Spring Creek underground cave and tunnel system, along with appropriate mitigation plans to avoid and minimize potential contamination of aquifer and groundwater tunnels leading to Wakulla Spring. Similar motion was passed by the Planning Commission at their October 10th meeting, and we obviously endorse that. If I could, I'll just read a little bit more from this. Hopefully it's not going to be the whole order. What we would like to have added for 4 commercial zoning districts, C3, C4, HIC, and LIC, under conditional uses, convenience stores with fuel sales. The language says, applications for conditional use under this section shall require documentation and analysis on the proximity of the underground karst features, for example, caves and tunnels, based on the most recent data maintained by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, that is, Florida Geological Survey, to the property subject for conditional use. For properties or any portion of the parcel subject to the applicant's request, vertically bisects or is within 1,000 feet of any portion of a documented cave or underground conduit, a karst management plan is required that sufficiently demonstrates how the groundwater and karst feature will be minimally impacted from potential contamination of pollutants on the site. Now, we also know there's some proposed gas station site plans currently, or room to soon be seeking administrative approval that wouldn't need review until this requirement is adopted. Therefore, we urge you to temporarily suspend administrative approval for all pending or proposed gas stations until at least these new provisions are adopted and implemented. And in fact, we would also urge you to temporarily suspend them until the new or revised groundwater and springs protection ordinance with similar language is adopted and implemented. Wow, pretty good timing. Yeah. I think that should cover it. I would just ask, I don't know what the procedure is or anything, I wasn't able to print out a nice copy of the email, but if it could be, if Mr. Gaudio's email could be included in the official record or whatever of this meeting as public comments.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Andrew Whittle.
It's kind of unusual for me, Andrew Whittle. I'm here as the chairman of the Planning Commission to answer any questions that you may have on what happened in the Planning Commission and what the Planning Commission recommended.
Any questions from Mr. Riddle?
I don't.
So do you feel that the Planning Commission gets the information they need to make a reasonable selection, decision on whether grant a conditional use?
You want my opinion?
Yes.
Okay, my opinion is that the packets we get contain voluminous amounts of information.
Well, I know that.
Is it always better to have more? Yes, it's probably always better to have more. But do we get enough? I have not had trouble to make a decision yet, and I've been in the Planning Commission for 5 years. So I've had a lot of things come before me.
I just, to me, I just want to make sure that the Planning Commission knows where the caves are when they make their decision. As long as I'm going to get that confirmation, I don't have a problem.
And just for the benefit of the public, this proposal takes it away from us making that bottom line decision and puts it to them. And so I think we all voted unanimously to make that a conditional use.
Right.
Yep.
Well, we didn't have any decision before, it was automatic.
Right.
Nobody had to review it. So this makes at least one level of review, and I just want to make sure that when they do that review, they have the latest maps of where the caves are.
Very good.
Someone wants to say something.
I was just going to say, it's been made very clear to staff that that is a very passionate and important topic. We do have those files in our office through our GIS system, and that information will be made available to the commissioners or the planning commission, or both, depending on the scenario.
Very good.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Can someone explain one more time for everyone how this is going to happen with this new change with regard to the Planning Commission makes the decision?
Yes, so if this ordinance is approved this evening, convenience stores with fuel sales will no longer be allowed as a principal use in these four zoning categories. They will have to submit a conditional use application along with a pre-developed and designed site plan. That is part of the criteria to receive any conditional use approval. And after being reviewed and vetted by staff, then it will be advertised for a public hearing before the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission will weigh the merits of the application with that requested conditional use.
So if it dies in there, it dies before it gets to us?
The conditional use would stop at the Planning Commission. It would not come before the board. If a conditional use is denied, then an appeal may be filed by an aggravated party, which would then be presented to the county commissioners serving as the Board of Adjustments.
Thank you.
So before, when it was a principal use, there was an expectation of approval, and now they will have to demonstrate that to the Planning Commission in order to seek that approval.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, you're on point.
And additionally, Mr. Chairman, when you're considering a conditional use, you can impose restrictions or limitations or conditions on that use,
Very good.
depending on the site.
I think this was Chuck's idea from the beginning, so he got unanimous support on that. Yeah. Anything further, Mr. Riddle? Thank you for your service on the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Mr. David Damon.
David Damon, thank you, Commissioners. I'd like to ask, where are we with the Springs Protection Regulation workshop that we were promised? What's that?
It's on one of our lists. We're climbing out.
Okay, because we've heard about it for a couple of years now, and we had that big hoopla here in Southwest River Oil, and we still don't have that in place. So it seems like that's a tool for the toolbox of planning to have when they're talking about what we're talking about right now. So I think it's really important that we quit kicking that can down the road, and let's make that happen and get the parties that are supposed to be at the table to the table this time. Okay, thank you.
Maybe a difference of opinion, but personally, I'd like to see if we work out this acquisition of this property and dedicate that to parks before we start kicking the people that we're going to try to get to pay for all that. So that's just my opinion. All right, further questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. All right, that takes us to item number 15, public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for the board's approval to conduct a public hearing and approve the designation of the Richardson Cemetery Annex as a historic site on the local Registrar of Historic Places. You've also been provided a resolution to solidify that approval if you so choose to do so. This is the area that's adjacent to the already known Richardson Cemetery. This is some additional lands where unmarked graves were recently discovered. This proposed resolution this evening will kind of wrap that in and further solidify the designation of the newly acquired lands.
Second. Motion and a second. Any citizens? Discussion from the board.
None.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. Item 16, public hearings.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a request for the board's approval to conduct a public hearing and adopt an ordinance amending section 5.007 and 23.006 of the Wakulla County Code. This is pertaining to alcoholic beverages on county properties.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. That ends our public hearings. We have no planning and zoning items. We have no commissioner agenda items. County Attorney.
Just one brief announcement. The next meeting, Evan Rosenthal with my firm will be here. I'm going out of town for Thanksgiving and to see my daughter on the West Coast.
Nice. Safe travels. Yes, I have, Shane is going to give a quick update on the golf course and where he is or isn't, so. Thank you, Shane.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioners. Just a quick update on the course. Everything's going fine. Of course, we've been dry, and this is probably the picture I brought that tells the biggest tale. Is that's our irrigation pond that our reclaimed water goes into, and as you can see, we're getting pretty low, and it's at this time a little bit lower than that, actually.
Explain what that box is there for.
That is actually our intake into our wet well for the irrigation pumps that water the sod that we're putting out, and that's exposed, and actually today there's probably about a foot more of that exposed. With that being said, I've had to adjust our pumps to, which normally pump about 2,200 gallons a minute to 1,000 gallons a minute, just so I can spread it out, but by doing that, it's not allowing me to get around in water as much as we probably would like to at this time with the sprigs on the ground.
So the water will eventually be to the grass line?
Yes, sir.
Once you grow in?
It
was at one time.
It was at one time, and this weather, that's the one thing I can't control. I'm good at what I do, but the weather I can't control. And we haven't had any significant amount of rain in over a month now, and that's the result of it. This is a picture of 4 green and 15 green, and you can see just those greens were planted on September 28th, and so they do have some green to it, but in the month of October we only had 15 days of 60-degree nights, and that's another part of the equation that I can't control, and we need about 120 60-degree nights to fully grow in the golf course. With that being said, we've decided to hold off on sprigging any more of the fairways until springtime. I just don't feel comfortable going into winter, not having any growing season, putting the sprigs out there, rolling the dice on the weather. It'll still take us the same amount of time in the spring, whether we plant them now or in the spring. And so it's easier to keep the weeds out without the sprigs there, and being the time of year and the weather that we're having and the water situation, I just feel better that we wait on we'll have 2, 9, 1, 10, and 18, 5 holes left to plant in the spring. And then it'll be about 100 days from there. Go back one, Kenzie, sorry. Same with this, the hole 15 over on the left side of the screen there was planted before the holes here in the middle part of the screen, and you can obviously see there's more green there. The last 11 acres that we planted were October 25th and 26th, and those are the ones that are concerning me the most going into this winter. The rest of them have plenty of growth and nice white roots to, I believe, make us through, but that last 11 is going to be tough. The contractor should be done next week. I think Wadsworth will be pulling out about the 15th of November. Our irrigation guys will probably be around for about another 3 weeks. We're tying up loose ends. We've had some supply issues through the course of the project, and our rib irrigation heads, the rapid infiltration basin heads, have not been on site yet, waiting on supply, just back ordered from the supplier.
But you haven't been in a position to use those anyway yet, right?
No, sir. There's no way I'm wasting any water in any ribs at this point in time. So with that being said, in the next 2 weeks, we will finish sodding
We have about 9 acres left of sod on the contract that we were going to use. I know if you've driven by, you've seen we've done the whole chipping area out front, and we're working our way down those last 4 holes that will just sprig the fairways in the spring.
And we mentioned the purchased extra 10 acres of sod.
Yes, sir, that's part of the last piece of sod we have left. Any questions?
What's your thoughts on the design now that it's starting to come together, number of irrigation heads and the design itself and layout of the holes? And
I think it's going to be a great course, sir. Everybody that I ride around, I mean, anybody that comes out there that's interested, I usually try to take them on a tour just so their word of mouth out there in the county is better than me saying it, you know, and everybody that I've ridden around has nothing but great things to say about it. The changes that have been made from the old course are definitely and improved, and all the homeowners, me and David went to a homeowners meeting for I don't know what the neighborhood's called, Wildwood, the other night, and everybody in there was highly complimentary about the work that's been done and what's going on behind their houses. So,
nice.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a big draw once it opens.
Yes, sir. Again, it's the weather.
We need a home run there too, don't we? Well, we also need people to flush toilets too. We're only getting about 700,000 gallons a day, so right now.
And that won't be a problem. Some people have asked me, well, what are you going to do when you're open? It's just a different situation when the Bermuda grass is mature versus right now trying to get it to grow in, you know, the amount of water we'll use. And
He'll be using the ribs a lot.
Yeah.
Shane, what's the building going there that I see from 98?
It's been called a bunch of different names, but everybody calls it concession stand halfway house. I prefer the tiki bar at Wakulla Sands.
Okay, all right.
I like the sand trap.
The restroom, it'll be the restrooms and a concession stand there that we'll be able to use.
And Shane's done a great job too.
Yeah, he has.
You work hard. We really appreciate it. I don't play golf, but it looks good. A lot of people looks good though, and I don't think we could get to this point without you.
Appreciate it.
Shane is the consummate professional. He knows what he's doing. He measures what he does, and he makes sure he's making the correct moves by putting good information to it in.
Yep.
He's a good.
I can do anything.
Quite a professional.
Let you know. Please.
Thank you, Shane. Appreciate
Good
it.
work. Thank you. Also, to update you on the, Mr. DeLuca, he mentioned about FEMA. Our latest communique with the FEMA folks was we got some information back on the 27th of October. I think that's the date of this, yes. Said it's moving on through the EHP review. I have no idea what that is. And it has moved into a new phase within that review. Are you talking National Sands, I'm sorry, with the state and tribal consultation offices. The project is slowly winding its way through the bureaucracy. So we're getting close. But I said that a year ago. So.
Didn't sound like it's getting close.
Yeah. No, Chuck, you know all about that. So it's going through the state. Now, the good news is it's going through the state and tribal consultation. So therefore, they have defined windows that they have to comment back on. So therefore, that narrows it down. They just can't hold it out forever.
Great. Anything additional?
That'll do me.
Thank you.
I'll ask one question while we're talking about that. You said the kayak sand's bad too, so.
Yeah. The
other side was just removed.
Well, that's because they were bad. They started taking on water. We've contacted the person that built those for us, and they're handicapped kayak launches. And he said that's a problem with those, and we're looking at other new ones to put in there that can we either put a smatafilin paint on it or get a different kind. So we're looking at that.
Kayak ramp that we bought was for fresh water, not salt. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Citizens be heard. None for the second one. Discussion items for commissioners. Commissioner Nichols, want to start us off?
Just traffic, same thing that we've talked about every time, trying to get the light in right here at Aaron Road. I get a lot of complaints on that.
I have a call with DOT 11 o'clock in the morning, right? So at the same time, I got a call with you, so.
You remind them about I know have we done the letter yet? I think Summer I asked you the other day and I forgot to get back with you.
Yeah, we've had conversations with them on that, and yeah, that's what we're talking about, as well as more than changing that light, they just have to do some restriping, but there's no reason why they can't do this. And also, we're going to talk about the intersection at 98 and Spring Creek, that it's up for and it qualifies for currently, last time I talked to them, for a roundabout there, so I'm going to press them on that.
Did you just say a roundabout at 98 in Spring Creek?
Best place for it. Work like a charm.
We saw improvement, temporary improvement at Wooden Lake Road as well. Did I see that? At Wooden Lake,
Mountain Church.
had some fill put in there.
Well, Wooden Lake, they can't, all they can do is put a little bit of milling in there because that road is gonna disappear. And the other side, they can only put the road base there because within this week and next week, they're supposed to have that paved over.
They've done it about 10 times.
Yeah, they've been out there, I mean.
Because they did it the other day and 2 days later it was already beat out.
Yeah.
So,
And we do have people now slipping through the new road.
Yeah.
Going around the cones and stuff.
All right, anything additional?
No, sir, that's it.
That's it for me. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.